Hello and welcome. My name is Jessie. I am the founder and the owner of the Jessicake Leon. In this video lesson, we are going to be creating a lady fondant pump shoe. I'll see you right after the lesson. Hello, let's begin our lesson. We are going to be creating a lady fondant pump shoe. So we need some flour paste or modeling paste to create this shoe. I make mine by myself. I add a Tylose powder in a homemade fondant, which was white, but I added a cream color in order to get closer to a golden color because I wanted to create a all gold fondant shoe. So this is my my homemade paste in which we'll be coloring after the shoe is done with a dusting gold. So you just have to add a Tylose powder to a normal homemade fondant, sorry. So this is the heel that will be that I've made beforehand, so it will be dried, but we are going to see how to create one now. So this is my modeling paste or flour paste as you want it. So we can see the difference. We're going to see the difference between a modeling paste and a normal fondant. A normal fondant, it's more soft and sometimes it can be sticky, but when you add a Tylose powder to it, it gives strength to the fondant and dries the fondant from every humidity. So now I'm going to malax my modeling paste, homemade modeling paste. So in order to make it a little bit softer. So every time I cut what I need, I should absolutely keep the rest in a bag. So this is our mold for the heel mold. Cutting off some excess fondant. So now we are going to put it into the mold and make sure that we really put in as much as possible. Then roll it with a rolling pin. Just press down more again. So now we can see that our mold is completely filled with a fondant, with the modeling paste. So we're going to trim off the excess. You can use a knife, but be careful not to cut off your mold. That happens to me once. So that's why I love using this chocolate scraper to scrape off every excess. So now we are going to put in as much as possible and scrape the excess gradually. So it's better to might be scraping 3 times and having the right consistency inside your mold instead of maybe cutting everything off once and getting off too much. So when you're using your knife, you have to be very careful that you are not cutting off the sides of your mold with the fondant. So I'm going to try to smooth the surface, which is a very important point. So make sure it's very neat. smooth as possible. So now, I'm going to still removing every excess and checking around if everything is okay. So now this is how you make a heel with your mold. But I'm not going to remove it right now because normally you put it in the freezer for at least 10 minutes so you can unmold it easily. This was just for us to see how to make one. So you can see you have to leave it to dry after so you can easily bring them out. It's really very important. You don't have to force it out of the mold because your heel will not be strong. And you have to make it very earlier before creating any other part of the shoe. So you can, this is how you bring it out if maybe you want to unmold it. But I'm not doing it right now because it's not necessary now. So you have to create your heel at least a week before. It should be completely dried. So this is our heel, the heel I made beforehand. So this is a styrofoam to dry our shoes. You can get one easily on the internet. It's very useful. It's really, really useful. And without this, you can't get a very beautiful shoe that looks so real. So you need one. At least you need this styrofoam to set up your shoes, be it palm shoes or any other shoes. So this is the cutter for the sole. We are going to cut the first sole. So I'm trying to make my fondant have the length that almost the same length with the inner, the sole cutter, sorry. So I will just roll out maybe wide and not focus on rolling it wider. So I'm stretching it out a little bit. Sometimes I change my rolling pin in order to make the work look be easier as possible. So sometimes I can start with a bigger pin and end up with a smaller one. But sometimes I start with the smaller and end with a bigger, or I just interchange. All that matters is to get the nice thickness. So as we are going to be creating a pump shoe, it should not be too thin. We need a good thickness. Here we are going to cut the sole, the front sole, because this shoe, I should remember, it's a pump shoe. We need a pump shoe, and the sole of a pump shoe, that is really what makes it to be called pump. So this is the pump toe. And it's really important that the thickness should be equal on every side so we can have a really beautiful result. So as you roll, make sure you roll equally everywhere. Just verifying the thickness. Make sure it's equal on the both sides. So sometimes it might just get back a little bit, so you have to roll again. It might strings back. So now I'm counting off all the little excess fondant around the quarter so I can get a neat look. But that is not, it's not finished, but it's just the first part of it. I just clean a little bit so that it will be already clean, because sometimes the sugar paste just stick to it and it's not that so nice. Once again, verifying that I have the right thickness everywhere and cutting off those tiny excess that will give us the neat finished look. These are details that are very important. They are little, but they can easily just spoil all your work at the end of the day. So it's better to take off those little details now and avoid you a lot of wasting of time later. So we are going to press the back side of our tool. Make it flat and thin as possible because we need it to be able to glue it to our sole, the sole that the sole at the bottom of the sole. You have to be diligent in doing this kind of work. You see, there is still like those little excess fondant still remaining. Just like I said earlier, they are details, but the details makes all the difference. So now I have not glued anything yet. Why? Because we have to make sure that we have in the right size. So now when we see that the two is perfectly aligned together, now we can glue them together. Because most time when you glue your different parts of the shoes too early, you might find out that something still needed to be done. So it's better to always really check first before gluing. So now the heel, this is why our heel have to be made before time, because when we get to this stage, if maybe the heel was not well dried, it's not going to be easy. You find it difficult to set up your shoe, sorry. So now we'll check if everything is well aligned. Still have to work on it again on the toe, because the pump toe should really look nice as possible. So we're going to put the heel and check again. And verify that the toe is really touching this styrofoam. You should touch it. If it's still coming out, you can smooth it with this fondant tool. Check the other side that everything is perfectly aligned. I think now we can glue it, because we have the good shape needed. So now we'll verify and make sure that our heel is still straight. This is very, very important, because sometimes when you put the sole and you are not careful, you might have a bent heel at the back. And when it's too late, when they are dry, there's nothing you can do about it. So now we're going to just allow our pump shoe to dry at least 24 hours minimum before working on it. So this is why you have to really make your heel beforehand. I'm repeating myself, I know, but because it's necessary. So you can create your shoes in a very safe way. So if maybe you make some heel, you can leave it in the mold, but I advise you to bring it out to unmold it so it can dry quicker, and so you can use it easily to create your shoe. Now we'll allow it to dry.